Welcome to January Open Mic. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm glad you're able to join us today. Do we have any volunteers to go first? Who would like to share first today, this evening?
I don't care. I always don't care, one way or the other.
Okay, so Sylvia, since you're unmuted, let's have you go first.
Okay. Um, Although, actually, now that I say that, I'm going to have to find my story. It'll just take a moment. So either Jonathan could go while I find my
You
story,
know,
or
the thing about starting, Sylvia, is you get to set the tone. So uh, so I could go first, but I'll start with something that sort of hopefully has enough direction to go in a couple different directions, if that makes sense.
okay.
Hopefully, my little arrangement. This is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is just a song. It, well, somebody said the other day that was kind of this one I sort of model off of kind of a John Prine vibe, a little bit of a story, and it's set. I was going to do this in November, but I didn't have the internet to bring it up. But it's set in sort of Thanksgiving time, so it's about a family gathering. Uncle Jerry ripped a stinker like a Bible ripped in half. The cousins Kai tried to stifle hoots, and Betty couldn't help but laugh, saying, "Good Lord, Jer, think of the kids sitting for their fodder. I'll never get them quieted down, put the table back to order. Our quiet moments, the big risk that we must all heed. Watch what all we each let loose at a family feed." It was at Thanksgiving, and that's what I did. Human trait too small to level what we each must see before our time is done. Everything occurs most anywhere, anything to someone. We all look back and take account for how we added up. Is it half empty or half full, or is it just a cup? I prefer, like Uncle Jer, to let nature take its course. Take all passing as it is and not supple on remorse. Hold all kinds in light of grace, pin none to boards. Let each live and be real and enjoy their just rewards. I don't claim my philosophy rose from Jerry's gust. I'm just saying consider everything all comes from the same dust. There's little that parts us, much that we all need. Some light shows the way, some is only heat. If we can hold together, we'll not come apart. Glad to share the memory of Uncle Jerry and the fire. Take that one where you will,
That
Sylvia.
is good. That is good. Oh my gosh. Of course we know what it's about, but then it's that's a great story. Did you did you write that? Oh, you've muted. Did I mute you or you are muted?
No, yeah, that's one of my songs. That
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
That's hilarious.
sorry, that's maybe a little too revealing of the inner psyche.
No, I love it.
Yeah, okay.
It's so silly. And you performed. I was just remembering. I think I saw that you performed at Three Tracks.
Yeah, yeah. The Portland Mountain Boys. I
Okay.
played fiddle, and we did
Nice.
that. It was lots of fun. That was lots of fun. We hope to do that again, and
Cool.
Have
hopefully.
you ever played fiddle for us?
No, I haven't. Um, I'm, it's a little harder to do this. It's not always easy to get the sound right for that. Sometimes it's a little trickier.
Yeah.
See what I work out with Seamus and Scarlett. Because
Yeah.
Scarlett and I used to be we're in a band with her dad.
Oh,
And I played fiddle there, and she sang and stuff. So
nice.
we could probably work something up.
And her dad played guitar. Is that
Her
right?
dad, yeah, her dad mostly it was mostly songs he wrote, and and he played the guitar, and I mostly fiddle in the last few years. So
Yeah.
so
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
maybe we'll work up a couple of those. He unfortunately her dad passed away a couple years ago, which
Yeah.
old friend of mine, So, but maybe we'll work some of those up and
Was
bring them
that
to the open mic.
Yeah.
was he wasn't your relation though, or no, he wasn't.
Well, he'd been my brother-in-law.
Oh,
He'd been married to my
brother-in-law.
sister,
Okay.
brother-in-law. Yeah,
Okay. Wow, so many connections with your
yes,
family.
a lot.
Yeah. Um, oh, I was gonna say something. I don't remember what it was now. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I get so confused about your family tree, but I think I just need to maybe if I wrote it on paper, it would all make more sense to me. Because I know so many of you, and I just forget who is related to whom.
Yeah, yes and no, it would maybe, but
Maybe possibly. But
it's
anyway,
it's more of a bramble than an actual tree.
I like that
Yeah,
though. It's an talk about a community, a bramble community. Yeah. Um, but your song, how long ago did you write that?
That one was probably a couple of years ago. I think I wrote that before I got back.
Okay.
We got back to Portland, so probably 3 years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe.
Was it inspired by anybody in particular? Or any family gathering in particular?
Well,
Or is that
of,
a secret?
not of a sort, but I mean, I actually started off with just that, like the first line, and um, I just and then the rest. I just said, okay, what can which amused me, and then after that, I thought, well, what can I do so this isn't just a puerile entertainment? So I try to sort of create a little more flesh around a really
Yeah,
terrible metaphor.
I think it worked. I think it worked.
Oh, good. Well, good.
Yeah. Because I didn't laugh all the way through. It wasn't
Well, yeah, good.
meant to be, right? Yeah.
I
Anyway,
never had an Uncle Jerry, but I did have an Aunt Betty. So that was the factuality sort of stops there. In reality.
cool. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Sylvia, I don't know if you have it, I feel like the only connection that I have that's gonna be, I don't, we'll go last, I guess, and if we want to do another round, is just like family related, but otherwise not really connected. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, my story is not in any way any of that, but that's okay. Okay. So I think that for the open mics in the near future, I'm going to be telling you stories that are the same stories that I've been publishing on Shout Out, because that's what I'm writing. So that's what I've been writing, is those stories. So Christina, you might have seen this story. I don't know, but
I love to get to hear it in
what's
your
that?
voice, though. So
What?
I love that I get to hear it in your voice, like spoke. That's awesome. Because yes, I've seen them, but you know,
Yeah,
it's different when it's the author that's reading them.
yeah. And a story is different told than story read anyway. So, okay, this is a story called Greyhound Bus. Daisy Leong was my first woman lover. Can you remember what that first breakup is like? It was like that. The summer night we became lovers, Daisy was on the rebound from her girlfriend Sheila, who had left her lying on the floor with a dial tone in her ear, sobbing in despair. You and I know this isn't going to end well for me, but I was 20. Daisy never lied to me. She never said she loved me. But those long California nights we worked together on the crisis line, how could I resist her? And then, of course, 5 months later, Sheila came back through town and swept Daisy away with her. In the fall, I got a letter from Daisy saying that Sheila had left her again, for good this time, and would I come to New York and see her? Like an idiot, remember I was 20, I wrote back and said yes. In the letter, Daisy told me I was too good for her, that I was the only person who made her feel like she was worth something, that she knew she could always count on me. Now, you and I know that this is not love talk. It's I'm lonely and sad and need someone to hold me talk. But at the time, well, hope springs eternal. So there I was, 4 days on a Greyhound bus, rolling all the way across the country to be with Daisy, however briefly. This is what would happen. In bed in Daisy's tiny apartment, I would be admiring the way her black hair slid over her neck and shoulders, and the roundness of her breasts and butt. And she would tell me that she couldn't afford the rent, but that was okay because she wanted to see more of the country anyway, and her cousin was getting married in Toronto. I would have gone anywhere with her. From New York City, we would travel north through endless rolling seas of fiery leaves. We wouldn't be on the bus this time, we would be hitchhiking. I know, but it was the 70s. And again, we were 20. We would not be raped and murdered. In fact, people would be kind to us the entire trip, even though we were two girls and Daisy was Chinese. Somewhere in upstate New York, a farmer named Rufus would pick us up and say we could spend the night in his barn, and we would ride in his truck for miles and miles on a dirt road through his fields. When we got to the house, it would be night already, and so dark I could see nothing anywhere, not one glimmer of light in any direction but the dim golden kitchen window of the farmhouse, and overhead the sky thick with stars, so many that I would understand all of a sudden that our sun and all its planets are just one tiny pinprick of light in an endless cascade of stars that is our galaxy. I'm from a big city, and this wasn't the kind of place I had ever seen, only read about in fiction. We would spend the night in the hayloft, burrowing in together to escape the chill of the autumn night. And Daisy would call me city girl and complain about the cold and how prickly the hay was. The next day, back out on the highway, we would get a ride with a man who lived near Toronto, and he would drop us on a quiet road curving through trees that flamed so bright they could almost keep us warm. We would have brought very little food for the trip. We were, again, 20. And by then we would have nothing left but a sack of raw almonds. Around a bend in the road, the frost crunching under our feet, we would see a farm cart by the side of the road with a teenage boy sitting in it, lobbing apples at the nearby trees. There would be only apples, only one kind. We would buy a bushel and fill our backpacks and then stand there eating apples one after another. And the skin of these apples would be silky and such a pale green that it was almost white with delicate crimson stripes, so that when we bit into them, the crimson would bleed into the snow white flesh, crisp and cold, and stain Daisy's lips a darker pink. After the wedding, from Toronto, we would get a ride with a soldier who had a 2-day leave and was desperate to see his girlfriend in Albuquerque. And the three of us would take turns driving through the day and night while the soldier talked and talked about his girlfriend, Lila, how beautiful she was, how kind and loyal, and how they danced all night in the street outside her parents' house until the neighbors yelled at them to go to bed. In Albuquerque, we would see dozens of bright hot air balloons rise from a flat golden brown plain. And Daisy would admit to me that before I even arrived in New York, she had had a postcard from Sheila, who was in Denver and was going to meet her there. We would say goodbye on the sidewalk outside the Greyhound bus station in Denver. And although you'd think I would be done crying over Daisy Leong by then, I would be pouring tears and snot, and she would lean in to hug me, her dark eyes telling me she was already somewhere else with someone else, and turn and walk out of my life. Before any of that could happen, though, on my way to New York, full of foolish hope, I rode for days in a Greyhound bus that smelled of stale cigarettes, the seats cloth and stinky, the windows yellowed. The bus stopped at a gas station that doubled as the Greyhound station, and I got off the bus to pee. And there I was in Kansas, under a blue sky, blue like a robin's egg, in a gas station, and nothing else but cornfields and soybeans for miles and miles and miles to the horizon. Halfway through 4 days on the dog, going to visit someone I was in love with, who was not in love with me. But I will always have those apples.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I like that you keep reiterating I was 20. Because, yeah, all of that. What a
So,
beautiful story.
so many of your stories really, take me back. I mean, just that not only everybody remembers their version of the 20, but I remember the 70s. Everything seemed so much more innocent in so many other ways. And of course, the bus and the stinky bus. I mean, I remember all that stuff just like that. As soon as you mentioned it, you always take me back.
Yeah.
I did something similar 30 years later, but not for a lover at that point. But I did get on a train, I'm on a bus across the country for a friend, and I I never wanted to be on a Greyhound bus again. It's just, and not, I mean, smoking on buses was not a thing in the late 90s, early 2000s. So, but it was still gross
Yeah.
and awful. But yeah, I love all of the details in your story, all of the colors, and I know that Kansas sky and those crisp, beautiful apples, and it's just all lovely. And yeah. I know I want to say that I'm sorry that you had your heart broken, but I know that it just happens to everybody.
It
So
happens to everybody.
it's just
Yeah.
is what it is, and what a beautiful
Yeah.
story. Yeah. I'm sorry. Did you have a name for that one? Did I miss that?
Greyhound bus.
Oh, nice. Is it really? Do people call it? Did they call it the dog, or was that your?
Yeah.
They did.
Yes, I remember actually when I got back from that trip, and was telling an acquaintance about it, and he said, 4 days on the dog. That nobody's worth that. And that was the first time I'd heard it called that. But
Dog. And you're like, yeah, I got dogged too. I
yeah,
don't know if that's the right term, but oh man. Well, it's a good story. At
thank
least you
you.
got that out of it.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, it's also I love we don't have I don't know. Can we find a theme? Is there a theme happening yet?
I don't think so.
Well, I actually, well, Sylvia, you needn't have tried to take a theme from my first one, but I've got one up that your story sort of provoked for me a
Okay.
little bit, or seems like a little bit of a fitting one.
So you were just
And
breaking the ice that
uh,
first one was just breaking the ice. It's just like
that's one way to put it. Yes, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
clearing the air. So
Yes.
or not, or the room. No.
Clearing the room. Uh, anyway, this one's called Regrets, and again, just sort of like, a lot of the songs I write are just try and pick a theme and see what it inspires, and what I can make of it. So I was trying to. This is just it's called Regrets. Time is filled most with unknowns, a certainty of fact. Yes, what's done is done, and you can't go back. I may have been mistaken, I'll have to live with that. I did ask you to stand by while I did what I had to do. That's how it seemed best when I thought it through. I may have been mistaken, or worse, a fool. I know how pain comes from all that we expect, trying to live in dignity and with self-respect. If I was mistaken, I take it all back. I I toss at night, barely in sleeping, think of all that's past, and I hope to let it go at last. I may be mistaken to all my errors lashed. I wish now for only bright recall, accept and not forget, and feel that the worst is done, all gone, and yet I may be mistaken. That is my regret.
That's lovely, Jonathan.
Very nice. Thank you. Yeah, very fitting. That was good. Good choice. Really beautiful. Hi, welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. How's everything? How's life?
Hectic, but I'm getting by.
Good. I'm glad you're here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Do you want to share today? I bet you do. It looks like you've got your guitar.
Yeah, I have my guitar with me.
Nice.
Is it a quiet night? Were there other people before me? I know I'm late.
No, yeah, it's a quiet night. We we had some other folks say they were going to join and then couldn't for whatever reason. So,
Uh,
yeah.
okay.
So Sylvia read a story, and Jonathan's done two songs now, and my auntie and my mom are visiting, and so we'll do something a little later, but it's super short and.
Ooh, I'm excited for that.
Oh, and here's another person. Yay! Look at this. So it's like I don't know. It's a progressive evening, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So yeah, are you ready? Hi,
Yep.
Chris. You want to share? Okay, I'm gonna pin you up.
All right. I'm gonna be performing an original. This one's called My Bad. My bad, I let you let me down. I let myself drown in thoughts of you when I should have taken the canoe. My bad, after your thousandth line, I believed your thousand first. Oh my, I let you make me cry. Then I let you make my tears run dry. My bad, I gave you the lock and threw away the key, and trapped myself in reveries and blurry memories. But thank you for making me stronger. I've even learned to breathe underwater. My bad, I believed in a third chance. After you blew your second round, though we declined, I thought we'd get better with time. My bad, I kept calling true sense, kept finding excuses to convince myself you meant good, that you couldn't help being rude. My bad, I gave you the lock and threw away the key, and trapped myself in reveries and blurry memories. But thank you for making me stronger. I've even learned to breathe underwater. My bad, I thought we could pull through. never listen was something I already knew. But I still kept going with my words. 2 steps back, none forward. 2 steps back, none forward. Mother, I gave you the lock and threw away the key, and trapped myself in reveries and blurry memories. But thank you for making me stronger. I've even learned to breathe underwater. Gave you the lock, threw away the key, and trapped myself in reveries and blurry memories. But thank you for making me stronger. I've even learned to breathe underwater. Thank you.
Ooh, nice. Woo! That totally fits in what we were the most recent iteration of stories and songs. There was a story about, well, there's a song about regret. There's a story about unrequited love, I guess, and going. I don't know. There probably was regret involved in that one too, I imagine. Not in the moment of the action, but yeah. So that was awesome.
I'm glad we have a theme going on.
Yes. It started off a little shaky. We're like, what's happening? No, it's good. I mean, with the theme concept. I've been thinking about you, and because you've made your move now, yes? And are you able to do playing out live at all, like open mic?
Yeah, I've been playing live quite a bit. I go to a lot of open mics almost every day of the week, and
Wow.
I've also got an upcoming show, so I play at lots of bars, restaurants,
Oh,
open
that's
mics.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Good for you. I'm so glad you're still coming to grace us with your presence too and share your music because
Oh,
we're
this is
lucky.
a lovely space. I'd love to like keep coming back.
Thank you. We're glad to have you. So thanks for coming back.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah. Chris, welcome. Nice to
Thank
see
you.
you.
Sorry I'm late. I got my times mixed up.
That's okay.
I got
Which,
my time zones mixed up. I mean, I've been in Wisconsin for a year, but for some reason I was still thinking 10 o'clock, and I looked at my calendar just now and was like, oh my God, it started at 9. So, yeah.
well, welcome. Did you want to share this evening?
I have a couple things. I don't know. Has everyone had a chance to share?
Yeah, I think we'll probably just close out the so my auntie and my mom are here. I've told
Okay.
everybody this now for like 5 times. So sorry. Maybe just four. 1, 2, 3, 4 times.
Okay. Yeah.
Um and so we'll probably just end, it's a very short little thing and we'll just
Okay.
end with that. So if you want to go next, that would
Okay.
be
I
delightful.
have two things. One's super short, and then, I mean, like seconds, like 1 minute long, and then the other one's maybe a minute or 2 minutes. So not very long thing. Should I just read them both now, or
Sure.
like in
Yeah,
a
I
row?
think so.
Yeah.
And Sylvia, did you want to share again too, or did you want to stick with your one song or story?
I could totally go either way if, you know, it doesn't really matter to me. I could do or not do. If I don't do, I could do next time. So
Okay. And is it Ciante?
Reality.
Cianti.
Mhm.
Cianti.
I'm cool with anything too. If we have time, I could do another one. If not, I'm happy with
Okay.
just one.
Okay. Well, okay, let's do Chris
Okay.
first, and we'll sort of see how we're doing, and yeah.
Okay. Since the last time I've been here, I got married. We haven't had one since then, have we, Christina? Christina?
Christino Marino.
I was thinking Marino at the same time I said Christina, and it all went together.
Here, I'll put my name on the things.
congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
There-
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I can't
Thank
remember.
you.
What, it was the 11th,
I
right?
don't.
I think we did it
Yeah, I
right
don't think we've had.
after.
Yeah, it was November 11th.
It was right
Did
after,
we? Okay.
but that's okay. It was, you read something different. I don't even remember what you read. Oh no, I do remember what you read. You read the story about, because I just watched it again. You read the story about Bear, little
Little
Bear
Bear. Okay.
throwing you
Yeah.
or rolling
Okay.
over on you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So not related
Okay.
to your wedding at
Okay.
all.
So I was gonna read my little poem I read at the wedding, Evergreen, or actually, yeah. So Joe, did Joe read that one? Maybe Joe read that one.
Joe read that one, yeah.
Yeah.
But you wrote it.
Yeah. Joe, yeah. But we didn't tell anyone I wrote it because I like to do that at other open mics. I like to not tell people I wrote things and then ask people what they thought of it. Or I like to tell people that someone else wrote it and then ask what they thought of it. And I get a much more honest.
Oh,
I'll say this is one I found written by this guy and give them a little bio of someone, total fake bio, and read it and then be like, what do you think? And I feel like I get real honest feedback.
oh, interesting.
Okay, Chris, that is bad behavior. I hope you know.
I cannot get an honest story. If I tell someone I wrote it and read it, you know what I get? It's cute. That's what I get. That's the feedback I get. And I'm like, that's not feedback. So it might be bad behavior, but
It doesn't approve. As a fellow writer, you're out. You're out of any writing groups that she would ever potentially invite you to be in. Kidding, just kidding.
I'll be honest with you, Sylvia. I wrote this. So, okay.
Thank you.
So here's the short one. Well, they're both short, like I said. This one is Evergreen. Okay. So it's called Evergreen. In youth and age and in between, in all the things we've done and seen, our love shines brighter and more keen and remains unfaded, evergreen. At day's blue dawn and night's bright gleam, under sun's bright watch and moon's pearl sheen, our love grows stronger and gathers steam and remains unfaded, evergreen. Through your soft smile and eyes that beam, with life and the power to redeem, our love flows onward like the stream and remains unfaded, evergreen. And when I'm old and bent and lean and often patient, but never mean, our love will show bright and true and keen and remain unfaded, evergreen. So that's that one.
Nice.
And that little, the pearl sheen
It's cute.
reminds cute. You know, it's cute. Thanks. That's what I was hoping. That's the reaction I like to get. It's cute.
Totally kidding. It's way more than cute. Sorry, go on. Pearl Sheen.
So that pearl sheen reminded me of this other one I wrote. I had read it here once a long time ago, and I'll give you the backstory after I read it. But anyway, this one's called The Pearl. Was I there when it happened? Would I even remember it if I was? How many lives would I have lived since then? I read Shen Kuo's account in the dream book when he conversed with no one but his writing brush and his ink slab. I saw the words on the page. I recalled the images in my mind, and I felt the warmth of the light on my skin, a light so radiant no one could look upon it. My eyes were closed, my skin glowing in the heat of the flood. My hands were raised in awe and in surrender and in the completeness of being, with no concept of words like today or tomorrow or eternity or of never. And I held nothing but an image of you in my mind, holding tight to remember I was still alive. A man showed me a pearl once in a shop in Yangzhou, and again I thought of you, and of the light that shone upon me and washed across the land, making shadows of every tree, lighting up the sky in the woods in deepest hibiscus red. And I wondered that I had been in the presence of gods and yet lived, protected by the thought of you, like a diamond in my mind. I walked through fields of wildflowers in the valley of Mount Huangshan in the eastern province of Anhui, with the smell of the jasmine and the narcissus and the sacred lily hanging heavy in the air. And I made a necklace for you of crushed petals intertwined with the sweet grass, and I washed the black soil off my hands in a sea of chrysanthemum and boarded the train for Jiangsu, from there to Lake Jinkai. My eyes were shut tight, and still I felt the heat of the light like sunbeams as I clutched the pearl in the pocket of my jacket, feeling the coolness of the gem that burnt my hand like ice, like sorrow, taking away all the thought of eternity, of emptiness, of fullness, and of nothingness, with only a razor-sharp thought of you cutting through my mind as a river cuts the valley. I saw the pearl rise and open in my mind, as large as a smoldering fist, illuminating the land in silvery white, the color of the lotus in early spring, its red tinged edge fading off to the stars, as you plunged into Jinkai Lake, like the sun crashing into the sea, a dying, drowning star. I read the brush talking from the dream book and had no one to tell my vision to, but the jasmine and the lotus and the pearl. How many lives have I lived since then? Would I remember? Am I even still here? That one, I was inspired. I read this, you might remember this story. I read this account of a UFO sighting in like ancient, I'm looking here to see when it was, somewhere like centuries ago in China, the year like 1022 or something like that. There was this UFO sighting, and it said it looked like a pearl the size of a fist or something rising up over this lake. And so I looked up all these areas where it was, and I just made the story of like someone who saw this thing and then wrote it down in like the year 1000. I don't know. It's just such a crazy thing, because we're like think UFOs like so seems so like, I don't know, like if you it's interesting to think of like a UFO sighting in ancient China or something. But anyway, that's where that came from. That's the origin of that.
So, Chris, in the story you read about the UFO, what was that the idea that the observers in that time thought of it of a UFO, or did they go to something completely
Oh yeah,
familiar to them, like the pearl?
yeah. I think they were thinking it was like God, like some sort of God. What does it say here? An object as bright as a pearl. Oh, and it was more than once. An object as bright as a pearl occasionally hovered over the city of Yangzhou at night, but described first by local inhabitants of eastern Anhui and then in Jiangsu. So I tried to add those in. Shen wrote that a man near the lake observed this curious object. Allegedly, it opened its door and a flood of intense light like sunbeams darted out of it. Then the outer shell opened up, appearing as large as a bed with a big pearl the size of a fist, illuminating the interior in a silvery white. Then the light shot from the interior, too strong for human eyes. It cast shadows. And then the object took off at a tremendous speed and descended upon the lake like the sun setting. So, and then a guy wrote a poem about the pearl, but I haven't been able to find the poem that the guy wrote. But so mine is like, I'm trying to say like, here's the poem that like a guy wrote. Like if I was an observer of it, this would be the poem that I wrote, because you're trying to make sense of this. Am I cutting out at all?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's interesting. So the pearlescence that you wrote about is that what you called it in the Evergreen? Made you think of the pearl or
the pearl sheen? Yeah,
pearl
the pearl
sheen.
Yeah, the moon's pearl sheen, and I was like, oh, the pearl. Yeah, so I haven't read that one in maybe a year. I don't think
It's been a long. I do remember it, but not. I remember the story more than I remember the. I remember,
Yeah.
like the 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 impetus for writing it.
Yeah, right.
They're both stories, so.
Yeah.
But I didn't. Yeah, so it felt still new and fresh hearing it again.
Actually, I should have introduced it by saying it's a poem written by Yibo, a poet of Kaiyu. and just told you it was a complete transcription. Sylvia's shaking her head. Anyway, yeah. All right. That's all I got.
Good, thank you. Sylvia, do you want to read again?
I think I'll just do next time.
Okay, that's totally fine. But Sianti, you want to go again?
Okay, I can go. I see we've got like 5 minutes.
Yeah. And we chatted. I don't know how much time everybody has, but we chatted for a bit, waiting for more folks to join us. So we could
I'll
go.
make it quick.
Okay. No rush.
All right. This one's called Why. Tell me why do you drive so slow when we go back home? Say goodbye, but your eyes say you don't want me to go. The red lights, I feel like you don't want them to turn green. So you could try to get us to spend the night on the streets. Oh why, oh why, oh why, oh why? Our love songs always playing on the radio. Maybe I tend to think too much and talk too much, so I keep quiet. Ooh, tell me why. Tell me why. Won't you tell me why? Tell me why do I call you though there's nothing to say? Waste my time, think I do it all over every day. Tell me why do you ask if I think about you? I can't lie, it's none of your business, but yes I do. Oh why, oh why, oh why, oh why? Our love songs always playing on the radio. Maybe I tend to think too much and talk too much, so I keep quiet. Ooh, tell me why. Won't you tell me why? Ooh, tell me why. Tell me why do you laugh when I talk about him? Them other guys got nothing on you and you know it. So tell me why don't you say what's on your mind? Ooh, tell me why. Tell me why. Don't know why. Ooh, don't know why. I know why. Ooh, I know why. I know why. I know why. Ooh, I know why. Thank you.
Nice.
Thanks.
Thank you for sharing that one too. All right. So I think we're gonna wrap it up, and I'm gonna take a walk. We're gonna take a journey through my kitchen, through the living room, the dining room. I mean, whoa. So we're doing this. I'm. Oh yeah, I need to get my my pitch or our pitch. One moment, we'll be right back. Come join.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Auntie Elizabeth from Spokane, Washington, over finally visiting.
Hi, Auntie Elizabeth.
Hi.
Mommy Debbie. Sister of Auntie Elizabeth. Hi,
this is
Sylvia.
Hi, Bunny.
very spontaneous.
Yeah.
And Chris, I recognize your face from other, wherever, well, on my screen, on Christina's screen, you're the lower left person. Hi, Chris.
Yeah, that won't be
Hi.
for everybody.
Not the same for everybody, right?
Okay.
This is
Charlie's
called
gonna join
Blood
us.
Harmonies.
Hi.
Blood harmonies. We were
We're gonna
so
bleed through our
one
eyes.
of my former students was on what is the name of that show? Yeah, On Deck with young musicians. Young musician on no, it's on All Classical, and she was talking about the question was where did she what inspired her to make music, or how long has she been making music, and she basically said that it was her family that was the inspiration for her music, and it's just always been a part of her life because of all the music in her family, and specifically singing together, and she referenced blood harmony and the concept of singing with your family, and how it just, she didn't go too much into detail about it. I've never actually heard of that before, but I guess there's some thought that the people who are related to one another that sing together just have I don't know, more connection or more tightness of harmonies, and so I guess, you know, with family bands and that sort of thing. Has anybody heard of that before? Blood harmony? No, I don't know. I'm gonna look it up. But anyway, so we decided to
We try it out.
yeah, we see how it go. Take our show on the road. No, just kidding.
This is our campfire version.
Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna pin us up here.
Oh.
This is a familiar song, I'm sure. I was about to mute myself. That's not the way to do it. Goodness. You Are My Sunshine. But we're looking for a pitch here. Here's it.
We
We'll
tried
try.
many.
Here we go. But
You got it? Ready?
I think so.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I dreamt I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken. So I hung my head and I cried. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Please don't take my sunshine away.
there it is.
There it is.
Blood
Such as
harmony.
it is. The blood.
There's room at the top now that the Carter family isn't performing anymore. You guys are ready for it.
Thank you, Jonathan. We'll look into that.
Indeed.
Nice seeing you.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for
Good
listening.
Yeah.
And there they went. Okay. Yes, thank you for indulging us.
That was wonderful. Loved it.
Lovely.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Yeah, we're back again, February 18th, I think it is, Saturday, February 18th. And so I hope you can all come back again. And yeah, we'll see you then.